Welcome everyone, this is your spoiler warning. My name's Tom Colohue and I will be your guide through the incredibly wacky and strange world of pro wrestling. Today we are going to be talking wrestling news and there's plenty of it to share. Welcome everyone who's already joined us. Going to go through the headlines so we all know what to expect. Today we're going to be talking about wrestlers from NXT moving to the main roster. We're going to talk Aleister Black, we're going to talk Miro, we're going to talk Ricky Starks, we're going to talk Michelle McCool, we're going to talk Jordynne Grace, we're going to talk Julia, we're going to talk Roxanne, we're going to talk Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Note that I will never say just Luke Gallows. You always either say Carl Anderson or Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Why is that? We're going to talk Keith Lee and we're going to talk Jey Uso. Plenty to share, plenty to talk about, plenty for you to learn by the end of it. Thank you very much, Jess, for a heart sent on the TikTok side. We are live on both sides. Thank you kindly. On YouTube and on TikTok. I will be wavering between the two and feeling guilty for not engaging enough with either. But welcome everyone. Welcome to the show. Hope you all come in and can enjoy what we're going to be doing here, because this one is going to be about NXT basically leaving an exodus of all the top talent and in fact competition, a race to the bottom for the actual women's championship. This is a difficult one because right now they're trying to think of people that they can put in that mix that they've not put in before, because so many people are about to be heading up to the main roster. With this in mind, it's very difficult for them to be able to say, hey, you can keep that belt. Lots to talk about. 52 people on the YouTube side, 22 likes. Let's hit that thumbs up. Same on TikTok, 29 likes already. Thank you guys for sharing and thank you very much for joining. Now, I know I bang on about this and ultimately I don't love how much time I dedicate to saying please hit like, but the shows always seem to do better when I be banging. So I don't make the rules, guys. You seem to like the banging, so I'm going to bang that drum and say please hit that like. As we start with our first piece of news, Aleister Black and Miro, formerly known as Rusev, are main roster bound. WWE have actively negotiated and succeeded in getting their contracts over the line already. Almost immediately upon leaving AEW, Aleister Black, Miro and Ricky Starks had already signed with the WWE. The negotiation period basically lasted about 13 seconds. They wanted out, they wanted in. It was that fast. In addition to that, Aleister Black left way before the reports that are now coming out. Some of them have got it very, very wrong. Ricky Starks, as we know, has already debuted, but all three of them had signed before the news leaked that they had even been released. It was a tactical leak to get the information out there to basically say, hey, we've got them, they're coming. And there is not a damn thing you can do about it but tune into every show and wait. And hey, as tactics go, it's not a bad one. Not a bad one at all. Welcome, Liam. Welcome, Jess. Welcome, Spiderball says, do you see Mercedes winning an AEW Grand Slam in Australia? Yes. Mr. X says, will Black show up tonight? I don't have the script in front of me. Liam says, pair Miro Penta for a little while and go on a run as Sarah Miro. Oh, I love it. I love it. That's nice. That is smooth. On the YouTube side, Leon says, hi Tom. Welcome, Leon. Welcome, Matter says, good day, chat. Declan says, hi Tom. Still waiting for Becky Lynch return. You and me both, buddy. You and me both. I cannot wait for that day to come. Joey says, hi Tom. Welcome, Joey. Jason says, hey Tom. Hope all is well. Will Shotzi come back up to the main roster and will Gigi and Tatum stay with her? I'm not sure on this one. Right now, they're doing the best they can to make Shotzi important in NXT. Right now, unfortunately, there's not much else they can really do with her other than look at pairings like this. They're intrigued, it's working, let's not count our chickens just yet. Bam says, hi Tom, welcome Bam. Joey says, do you expect Triple H to call people up that has no creative plans for again? So, to explain a bit of the process, because this is not just on Triple H, there are always people that Shawn Michaels says, there's nothing else I can do with this person. We need to either call them up or get rid of them. Don't like it, but that happens. So Triple H calls them up and says, I'll take a chance. I'll see what our creative teams can come up with. And then they don't. Hi, Sean, mate. Joey says NXT men's division going to be purged again. More on that shortly. Cecil says hello, Tom. Welcome, Cecil. Bailey says with more NXT people headed up to the main roster and more cuts expected for the existing main roster lower card. Not yet. The plan seems to be bring people up, then work out what to do with them. Shell says, happy Friday, Tom. Since the question of Ilya Dragunov has come up recently, I wanted to share my experience that I'm currently going through the same injury as him. Don't expect him until very late 2025. Sorry to hear that, mate. Sorry to hear that. Mr. X, we will be talking Josh Alexander a little later. Liam says, what's more likely, Punk, Reigns, or Seth or Cody? Sorry, Liam, I'm not understanding the question you've posed there. Can you rephrase that for me? Hello, Michael. Good to see you. Sean says Triple H confirmed Michelle for the Hall of Fame this year. He did indeed, and we've got some news on that to share. Michelle McCool will be joining the WWE Hall of Fame, and this is a piece of news that I'm very happy to share. The WWE, particularly Triple H, have believed for a long time, and it's the main reason that she keeps popping up in the Royal Rumble, that Michelle McCool could have had another run now in the WWE. Unfortunately, while they have been taking discussions and taking measures to try and make that happen, The Undertaker being so banged up and with his own efforts right now means that she simply can't afford to be on the road. This is essentially Triple H saying, okay, let's do this, and it'll be the last try I make. So it's not impossible. We get a lot more Michelle McCool in a very short amount of time. Plenty more news to come. Stick around. Be sure to hit like. Sean says, were Aleister and Miro signed by the Rumble? Yes. Joey says, Aleister Black going to be paired with Zelina since she moved to SmackDown? I don't know at this point. It's not guaranteed. Welcome, Pete. Good to see you, mate. We are indeed monetized again. Thank you kindly for renewing your membership during this period. Calvin says, hello, Tom. Hello, Calvin. Razar says, they changed in Ricky's name. They were really careful to not mention his actual name on anything. That has since changed. More on that very shortly. Crush says, will it be Rusev Day soon? Soon indeed. Cecil says, my house is Tom Colohue confirmed. My twins watching on TikTok. I'm on the YouTube. Thank you, Cecil. Appreciate you for making sure that I'm all over your goddamn house. Michael says, new beginning, the phenomenal the other day. Nelson says, do you know if WWE and AAA are going to start working together? There are negotiations, there are discussions. WWE is looking for a number of offshoot promotions that can essentially, they can loan talent out to so that they don't have to fire people. It's not working so far. Liam says, which triple threat match is more likely? Cena, Cody and Punk, or Reigns, Seth and Punk? Reigns, Seth and Punk. Reigns, Seth and Punk is already confirmed for Mania. Cena, Cody and Punk is not happening. Lana returning? Don't know. The WWE, to my knowledge, are not interested. Rickan says, did you hear about Tony and Ray Phoenix negotiating his release? No, first I've heard of that. As far as I'm aware, Ray Phoenix has had time added onto his contract primarily because information leaked. And Tony Khan was not happy about it. He's had time added because of the slight, because of the insult. Bam says, WrestleVotes reports this week that WWE is negotiating with Italy, Mexico and the UK about bringing a PLE. Do you know anything about that? Yes, I've reported previously about Italy getting a WWE PLE this year. I've spoken about the UK getting a PLE every single year. And as regards Mexico, we spoke about that previously. This is not news to me. Sean says, do you think Aleister could be the new member? Dominic hinted at joining the Judgment Day. Could be, but I don't think it's joining the Judgment Day. I've mentioned previously, I kind of think WrestleMania is going to end... Well, not end as it were. WrestleMania is going to feature Aleister Black kicking Dominic Mysterio in the face. Because why the hell not? Jess says, what are the Mania plans for Rhea looking like? Not finalised, but I do think Bianca's a good shot for it. A very good shot for me. Juan says, hey Tom, it's very unfortunate that out of all the talent were released from WWE out of there I'm not sure what happened with that break. Only Swerve Strickland and Tony Storm worked out and are loyal to TK. Okay. You remember Bryan Danielson, yeah? John Moxley? Declan says, according to Sportskeeda, Becky Lynch will miss WrestleMania this year. Sportskeeda does not report news. They only re-report news. That must be a report from someone else. Dad says, Tom, who's next for the Motor City Machine Guns? Championship contention is still very much in the Motor City Machine Guns wheelhouse, but the Street Profits are right there, ready to kick things off. Happy Friday, Irish. Nice to see you. Jackie PD says, do you see Demolition getting Hall of Fame due to the Legends deal? Not really. I'd imagine the day will come, but I don't think it's related. Calvin says, who do you think is in the new faction in NXT? Don't watch enough NXT to speculate. Joey says, do you think Penta will have a match at Mania and who would he face? Yes, I do. My suspicion is he will be in the tag team match that also features Aleister Black and Dominic Mysterio. Liam, I don't have news beyond what I've already reported about the Wyatt 6. Personally, my expectation is that we won't see much of them, but there will be hints and suggestions throughout the shows. Mr. X says, will Ricky Stark show up tomorrow at the NXT pay-per-view? He's already shown up in NXT, and I expect him to be a regular feature going forwards. We have 92 people currently watching on YouTube, 38 likes. 2 more gets us to 40. Here's me banging again, but if I have to bang that drum to make this work, I'm going to. We always seem to get more likes and as such more viewers when I am banging that drum. So if you want Tom Colohue to be banging, you just got to hit that like button. Ashton says, hi Tom, hi everyone. Welcome Ashton. And Calvin says, do you see A-Town Down Under officially breaking up tomorrow night? Do you see Theory turning face? I know that we're still waiting for it, but I feel at the moment that it will happen will be when we give up and stop waiting for it. That's certainly what happened with Mojo Rawley. Shah Game says, do you know if the Street Profits and Gunter have re-signed or are they still in negotiations? Still waiting on confirmation as regards what's going on there. I suspect the Street Profits will re-sign, but they're still waiting to get a proper opportunity. I'm worried about this one, but the heel turn, I think, might give them what they're looking for. Thank you, Pete. Appreciate you. Marcel says, hi, Tom and chat. How are you all? Doing well, thank you, Marcel. Daniel says, yo, welcome, Daniel. And Bailey says, bang that drum and get those likes. Matter says, I'm not here to watch Tom banging. That's fair. I wouldn't want to watch that either. Mr. X says, WrestleVotes reported WWE considering a US title chamber match. Cool. Jess says, why are they doing Rhea versus Io on a random Raw? To make people watch. Essentially, they decided they don't have time during the chamber pay-per-view. They always try and get 8 or 9 matches that they're building towards the PLE. Then what they will do is put them on individual Raw and Smackdowns. They try to have a championship match or at least a big stakes match every show. Mr. X says, any chance we see Enzo Amore back in WWE? No. 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 Bam says, do you see Miro and Black appearing before or after WrestleMania? There are already plans in place for Aleister Black. Miro, I'm not sure about. Sean says, if she ever becomes a free agent, do you see WWE bringing back Ruby Soho? I don't personally. While they do respect her work, I feel that there are a lot of burnt bridges there. Michael Winston says, Dr. Featherstone reported WWE is reconsidering Drew versus Damien because of fan backlash. Have you heard anything? Thank you. No, I haven't. And that includes the fan backlash. Is this because I've just not been on Twitter anymore because I'm not giving money to Elon Musk and by extension Donald Trump? Is that why? Because I'm confused by this prospect. Where was the backlash? Thank you, Proud Dad. Appreciate you dropping that heart in the chat. You can give gifts on TikTok if you would like to. I appreciate you for doing so. There is no requirement. I want to be very clear on that. If you'd like to, you can also give donations or become a channel member on the YouTube side as well. Every little does help and every little does go straight back into the shows, the editing, the business. So if you would like to, please be aware that that is exactly where it's going. Jess says, there was backlash all over my timeline. I really need to quit Twitter. It's a wonderful feeling. A wonderful feeling. I highly recommend it. I have never been happier. Mr. X says, will we have Nikki Bella have a match at WrestleMania? Unlikely. She doesn't seem to be featured at all since the Royal Rumble. Joey says, seems like a lot of people are disappointed with the Mania build. Did Triple H change matches or was this always the plan? Triple H changed a number of the matches late in the day in the build to the first Raw on Netflix. For example, Seth versus Punk was supposed to be a Mania match, as was Roman versus Solo Sikoa for the Tribal Chiefdom. Chris Forte says, do you know when Samoa Joe's contract is up? Do you see him staying with AEW or going back to WWE? Personally, I definitely think he's going to be coming back to WWE. I don't know when his contract expires. I reckon he'll be back around this year time. Sean says, do you think Nikki Bella will be on the card for WrestleMania? No. Ishii says, do you think we'll get more Bloodline members if we're getting Wyatt 6 versus Bloodline? There are already plans for more Bloodline members. They are already building that pact. Razar says there really wasn't much backlash for Priest versus Drew from what I saw. Interesting that we're getting different experiences here. Michael said Dr. Featherstone, thank you for this. Also said weeks ago Blair Davenport was going to be one to benefit from a 3-hour SmackDown. Then she got fired with no creative plans. Throwing that out there. Appreciate you for that, Michael. This is one of the things I do like to point out here. We need to remember what people report, because often you'll bring something in thinking, oh, this is guaranteed to happen, but in reality, that person doesn't have as good a record as you think. Now, I will be talking more about this because let's just say there is a small company of leakers who we've been keeping an eye on recently, and I have information about that I think will help you guys understand the situation. Just basically looking at the fact that they've been queried. Mr. X says, I hope Alexa Bliss will win this year a singles title. I suspect she will. Liam says, what's Solo's plan for tonight and what's his next feud? I would say that's pretty obvious. Cody Rhodes is ahead of him. I suspect they might end up getting themselves a chamber match, and that will be the end for Solo, because I kind of think WrestleMania is going to be Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa now. I don't know. But what we can say, Solo is loved by Jacob Fatu. Liam says, Tom is my only source. Appreciate you for that. Bailey says, does talent have to be retired to get into Hall of Fame? At some point, Natalya should be considered, but she's technically an active performer. No, Rey Mysterio, mate. Rey Mysterio. Chris says, do you see Alba Fire taking the rumoured Blair Davenport spot by putting her with Chelsea and Piper? Rumoured spot, there was no Blair Davenport spot. There wasn't. Jess says, someone needs to do a weekly or monthly YouTube video of all the incorrect reports. I mean, I don't hate that. It could be a members-only feature. Jess has raised this point, guys. I'd love to canvass opinion. Would you be interested in a regular video, weekly or monthly, in which we break down everything that people have gotten wrong and celebrate everything that people have gotten right? I have spoken previously about essentially making a database, and everyone can input, and we'll have a small group of people who vet. Basically, you input something, you say it's been proven right here, and then we say, hey, that person's 100%. And then something else happens, and we say it's proven wrong because it's proven wrong. And it's like, hey, they've got 50%. And then after a year, for example, we can say WrestleVotes has a 60% record. Purely hypothetical. Pulled that number out of nowhere. I don't know. But we'd be able to do that. Is that something people want featured? And if so, would you be willing to submit news reports? So I know what I'm looking for. Liam's excited by this concept. Mr. X says, will Jericho have his retirement at AEW or WWE? Neither. Ishii says, we could get a new Bloodline member interfere in the Braun match tonight. We could. We also could not. Dan says, thumbs up specifically for Tom banging. That's my guy. That's my guy. You get me. And while I'm banging, 3 more guys gets us to 50. 3 more likes to 50. On the TikTok side, 3,700. Only 5 people watching. What's your excuse other than the fact that it doesn't work the same way? Other than that. Pete says, Rey Mysterio still performing, which is what I quoted as well. Thank you for getting that out there, just in case I did miss it. Noob says, hello, Mr. Colohue. How are you doing today? Doing very well, thank you, Noob. There are 105 people on YouTube watching me. That's an exciting development. Liam says, I really want Jacob Fatu in the chamber, but I don't think I'll get my wish. I don't think it's impossible. Calvin says, sources say Will Ospreay made some comments about Triple H in an interview, and that's the reason Blair Davenport was released. No, they don't. They don't. No source is saying that, and if they do, they're lying to you. One says, Dave Meltzer believes Blair Davenport makes a return to AEW. Thoughts? I think it's a cap report. Anything could happen. There will be interest. She's a talented wrestler. I don't personally think that's where she goes. P wants it monthly. Noob wants it weekly. I think this would be a great thing for either a members only feature or, I don't know. Is it something you guys would watch regularly? Because if you will, I want to make it. But if you won't, I kind of don't. Monthly, weekly. Chris says, what do you think happens with Alba Fire now that Isla Dawn has been unfortunately released? It's sad because I like them as a tag team. It's unfortunate indeed. What will happen is that the creative teams will try and work out something new for her. And if they don't find anything, she'll be released as well, and I hope that doesn't happen. Calvin, she's not. You're confusing her with Kaylee Ray. She's not Kylie Ray, Kaylee Ray. Very similar names. Ashley also interested. Juan's interested. Bailey says weekly. Michael would love that. Not sure if there's enough for weekly. See, that's my concern. I don't think there's enough for weekly, and there are times when there's lots of news, but nothing is confirmed. So I'd be able to share my opinion, but it would just be my opinion. And that kind of defeats the purpose. Bailey says change that to twice monthly because Tom needs a break sometimes. That could be a happy medium. Matthew Johnson also says, love it if weekly works. Sean says, has anyone heard Indy Hartwell's new theme? It's pretty good. Wikipedia also says, yes, please, for the reports. Liam says, throw Alba Fire into the mid-card title division. Both brands need new stars. True. Lyra Valkyria versus Kaylee Ray could be a lot of fun. Jet says you could do it at the end of every month. Very much could. It's a good shout. I'm excited by that as a prospect. Sean says, do you see Psycho Sid going into Hall of Fame this year since he passed? Not sure, but I do think he'll go in eventually. He was a big name in wrestling for a long time. Bam says, will Miro be back as a Redeemer? Because I think that character worked with the best of him in his entire career. No, I think he'll be back as Handsome. Because I think that was the best work of his entire career. Mr. X, I suspect not. But you're asking about Cora Jade. Let's talk a little bit about the women's division in NXT. Because as we're talking about essentially an exodus from NXT, the women's division is going to be hit hardest. Firstly, Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace is coming in hot. There is talk of her immediately dethroning Julia to come in that level of hot, but also release Julia to be called up to the main roster because they don't want Julia in NXT for a long time. Unfortunately, they also want Jordynne Grace in NXT for a relatively short time. They want everyone up to the main roster relatively quickly. There is discussions now about a fresh-faced new champion who hasn't necessarily been mentioned much, like, for example, a Lash Legend. Someone who can take the division and spend months or even years honing a brand new section. They need a new top-tier champion. Delta has also been mentioned as a possibility for this. Roxanne, Cora, Julia are all expected to be in WWE main roster by the end of 2025. Likely most of them will be coming up right after WrestleMania. Stephanie Vaca and Jordynne Grace are also expected to arrive during 2025, though they might not come up as immediately. There is a championship reshuffle that's needed in order for us to get there. It's needed, and it's not necessarily the easiest thing in the world. So we're waiting for a bit more as regards that one. That says yes, please. Good. Alyssa says, do you see Cody Rhodes win WrestleMania or lose? I see win. Azrael says, is there anything Wyatt 6 related? Nothing that I haven't already reported, such as, for example, that there are currently plans in place that are coming together quite nicely and that they have already started with their eventual return with TV appearances. Danny says, do you reckon Randy Orton returns before WrestleMania to fight Kevin Owens there? Kevin Owens seems more likely to face Sami Zayn. That wasn't the original plan. I feel that was a pivot after Randy Orton made it clear that he wouldn't be available. Bam says, does Bo move into SmackDown have anything to do with Liv? Nope. Declan, you don't need to be sorry, mate. You can ask whatever questions you want. Ashton says, is the bridge between Mercedes money and WWE burnt forever? Could she ever return? No, yes. Triple H would be thrilled by the prospect. Thrilled. He would love to have her back. Tony says, congrats to Michelle McCool Calloway for becoming WWE 2025 Hall of Fame. Cecil suggests a monthly receipt. Oh, I like that. The wrestling receipt. Oof. Mustafa says, hey Tom, hope you're well. Been super ill for a few months, so I only pop in for a second and leave a like and return to my sickbed usually. Miss the community, love you all. I appreciate that, Mustafa. I appreciate you dropping in. Hope you're okay. I really hope you're okay. Let me know if you're not. Reach out if you need us. Dad says, do you see Adam Copeland beating Moxley for the title at Revolution without the Death Riders' help? No. Sadly not. Liam, that's true. It's not Rusev Day anymore. Rusev Day was a tag team and one of them ain't there. Joshi Wrestling, welcome. Says, I feel Stephanie is levels above Julia. Interesting. The general take is that they're both very talented, but Julia is sort of the creme de la creme. Interesting. Please do tell me more. Mr. X says, will WWE change Miro and Black names? Yes for one, not sure on t'other. Jess also likes the idea of the wrestling receipt. Thank you, Proud Dad, for sharing the show. If you are able to, guys, and you're enjoying what we do here, please don't forget you can share on TikTok, you can share on YouTube, you can get the word out there. I'd appreciate it if you can. We have 111 people watching on YouTube right now, 52 likes. We have only the 7 watching on TikTok, but that's still a good number for how long we've been doing this, and I appreciate all of you for being here with me. Jason says NXT should use Tia Hale more in this scenario too. Her name has come up, but not necessarily for that championship. Martin says, hey mate, listening live while driving. Little lurk along. Appreciate you, mate. Welcome back. And renews membership on both channels for a 25th month. A 25th month. I still remember the day you walked through the door, mate. More than 2 years ago. Angel says, who will Randy wrestle at Mania? Seems unlikely that he will. Azrael says, will Bray Wyatt be going to the Hall of Fame this year? The plan was to get him into the Hall of Fame last year. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because the family said no. And if the family still say no, that will not happen. Cecil says, why is it so hard to find out about Bo? Bo's a very secretive man. Even without factoring in, he's very secretive about the current storyline. Alyssa says, why people pick CM Punk dethrone Cody Rhodes rather see Randy Orton? Because people have their own opinions. Declan says, are we doing any surprise entrance for the Elimination Chamber? No, you'll know all of them before the event actually takes place. The Mancunian Way, which is Martin's Man City support channel, which you might quite enjoy, donates, thank you very kindly for it. Says, smash those likes, and if new, smash that subscribe button to Tom, the legend. If you're new here, we do have a rule. If you're able to, please don't just hit like on the video, hit like on the donations as well to show Martin your appreciation. It's like give me a little donation as well, encouraging other people to donate by showing that appreciation. Mr. X says, will Asuka return at WrestleMania? Seems unlikely at this point. Hello, Kelly. Good to see you. You did become a member. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, it took a little while for us to get monetized again. We reached 1 million views, which is my target for last year, and I turned off the monetization because I did feel that, you guys have supported me, and now I'm going to take off the ads and I'll support you a little bit. As best I could, anyway. And now here we are, and we're monetized again. So, yeah. All donations and all memberships will go straight back into the channel, and I appreciate you for it. Roy Farmer says, Josh Alexander is expected to join AEW report via Fightful. Thank you for dropping that one in, Roy. Also, welcome to the show, mate. Welcome to the show. Azrael says, this question isn't about anything wrestling related. What is your favourite horror movie? Okay, why not? I'm not a horror movie guy. I was taken to see Saw 2 and I went to sleep. A lot of jump scares and stuff. There are some horror movies that I enjoy because they're a bit more cerebral. I liked Woman in Black as an example, though I do feel that there was an overuse of jump scare. And I think that's because when you go to see the play Woman in Black, that is a wonderful experience, and I cannot recommend it any more highly. So I feel like I sort of was biased towards it. Horror films in general, I don't get it. It's not for me. It's not for me. But I appreciate your question. Declan says, I wish Becky was in the Elimination Chamber this year. I wish she was here all the time, anytime, because she makes wrestling better. Sid says the YouTube stream is going perfect. Thank you, Sid. One says Dave Meltzer and SRS The Enemy believe there's a lot of bad faith and bashing because AEW had to downsize for Grand Slam Australia. 13,000 tickets sold so far by WrestleTalk. There is a lot of bad faith, and you can find bad faith by going to a place called Twitter. And if you go there, all you will find is bad faith. So don't. Oh, Mr. X, it was released a while ago, to my knowledge. A while ago, I believe. No worry, Azrael. Okay, so for those who are not necessarily knowledgeable about how YouTube works as regards growth of individuals while they're live, you breaking it down into multiple comments helps. Bear with me 1 second. So, there are a number of things which YouTube and in fact TikTok use to determine whether a show is successful or not. And if a show is successful, they will advertise it to more people. I'll show up on more people's TikTok feed. I'll show up on more people's YouTube feed. There are a number of ways to do it. Firstly, amount of viewers. The more viewers you have, the more likely you are to pop up in someone's feed because you're ranking higher. Let's say, for example, there are 20,000 people live right now. If you've got 2 viewers, you're probably in around 19,500. If you've got 115 viewers like I've got right now, you're around the 1,000 mark. It doesn't just look at that though. We then go to engagement. On TikTok, you can hit like as much as you want. As much as you want, you can hit that like button. That's 4,700 already. On YouTube, you get 1 like. But every one of those likes says not only are people there, but people are interested. People are engaged. That means the show grows. That means everyone who hits like, YouTube looks at your watch history. Same with TikTok. Looks at your watch history, looks at other people with similar watch history, and then advertises this show to them. So the more YouTube you watch, the more viewers you find me. It's an interesting one. Then you have something called chat rate. Chat rate is the amount of people who are engaged, the amount of people who are talking. The more people are talking, and the more comments are being made, the more it advertises this show. So if you break your comment down into 3 comments, that chat rate just got boosted by 3. I'm not going to encourage anyone to spam. That's not how we roll here. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing to do. There are others, for example, donations are weighted. So the more people donate, the more it'll bring people to your channel. But I'm not going to ask for that because you are free to donate if you would like to, but there's no necessity to, and I'm not going to push people for it. Dan Sharp, welcome back. Says, hey, Tom and chat. The NXT men's, I'm hearing 4 names to be called up. Is this true? There are quite a few names. I will get to them just shortly. In fact, let's do it now. Ricky Starks is not expected to appear in NXT for long. He'll be in main roster bound post WrestleMania. Storylines are already set and already include Aleister Black. There's already plans in place for him. As regards Ricky Starks' name, the WWE weren't certain if AEW technically owned a trademark for Ricky Starks' name. They didn't mention it to avoid potential lawsuit, as it were. They have now confirmed that AEW do not own a trademark, so they have now started using the name Ricky Stark. As regards the men's side, I do expect more women to be called up than men. However, that's still quite a high amount. I'm expecting double figures of call-ups here. Double figures. So 4 names on the men's side is not a surprise to me. Kind of what I'm expecting as well. As regards to women, I'm expecting 6 or 7. There's your double figures right there. So I do agree, Dan. That seems likely to me. Thank you, Jess. I didn't even know how to do it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Little more still to discuss. We're going to be talking Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. We're going to be talking Keith Lee. And we've got a little bit on a wrestling news outlet that's once again gotten it wrong. Mr. X, we did mention Cora Jade. I'm expecting her to be called up. Oh, where was I? Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate your support. Ishii says, I'm so glad the White Six are coming back soon. I've already read that one. Coot says, Tony Khan and Ray Phoenix are reportedly in negotiations to end his time with AEW per Chris Prolific. As I say, his contract was essentially just extended out of spite. So I'd be happy to hear it, but I would not say that Dr. Featherstone, so Chris Prolific, has a 100% record. What I will say is that Ray Phoenix has endorsed him. And if Ray Phoenix is endorsing him, that seems to suggest that Ray Phoenix is giving him some information. Ashton says, I enjoy and miss Becky's promos. I understand. Same. Alyssa says, why people shoehorn CM Punk in WrestleMania main event? These do see him main event WrestleMania because people like him. Chris says, is CM Punk winning a title soon? He's not really pushing for titles. He's pushing for main events, which sort of means he has to have titles, so it's an outside way to get there. Tony says, is Rey Mysterio going to find a successor to LWO? Since he has huge respect for WWE newcomer Penta El Zero Miedo. I don't know on that one. I don't think he's necessarily looking for a successor. The LWO is replaceable, and Penta can certainly make his own factions. Ryan says, hey Tom, first time I've been able to watch live and talk, as usually watching while driving. Just want to say thank you for the videos and your honesty and your stories. Thank you, Ryan. That's a very generous thing to say. I appreciate it. I very much appreciate it. Thank you. I work hard, I find, and I very much... That's a very nice thing to say. Welcome. Bam says, are members of the new faction at NXT from WWE Developmental System, or are they some new signings for WWE? I do not watch enough NXT to speculate. Calvin says, what female superstars do you think have the best ring gear? Alexa, Bianca. I don't love Charlotte's attire. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Entertainment says, any more NXT women outside the ones you named that could get a call up? All of them. Could is a very, very open word. Matter says nobody has a similar watch history to me. I mean, you think that. You think that. Dan says Ethan Page, Trick Williams, and the two is a tag team. Interesting, Dan. That is putting your money where your mouth is, and I appreciate you for it. I do think Ethan Page is definitely coming up. I'm expecting that as well. Trick Williams is another one that I expect. Beyond that, I don't watch enough to really speculate. But I would agree with the names that you've mentioned. And I do, as I say, appreciate someone putting their money where their mouth is. Jeff says, Bianca's so talented, I still can't believe she makes her own gear. Azrael says, do you think Uncle Howdy will have a new mask, or will it probably remain the same that's been used? As I reported previously, Uncle Howdy has a lot of masks. A lot of masks. So new might not be the case. Different might well be. Kelly says, I watch YouTube all day long, and I'm not lying. I have all the streaming apps, but I'm on YouTube all day long. Ryan says, I never knew that in regards to the way it works on YouTube in promoting the channel. That is really cool. Any content creators out there who want to get started, let me know. I'm more than happy to share what I've learned and the reason that we have nearly 10,000 subscribers here. Mustafa says, what about Spamalot? What about Spamalot? Calvin says, I watched MJF's match with Dustin Rhodes Wednesday night. His rivalry with Adam Page has really heated up. It's a very silly place. Matt says they only have Netflix and Paramount. Talking to Kelly. Christopher Leclerc is expecting Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. Rizal says I really hope WWE doesn't call people up with no plans for them, then release them like they did with Blair and Indy. There were plans for Indy Hartwell, but she was injured at the time, and afterwards they were unfortunately not. Chris says predicting the men's call up Fraxim, Ethan Page, Trick Williams, Wesley and Ricky Starks. Women, Julia, Lash Legend, Jakara Jackson, Chemical X, and Roxanne Perez. Let's do this, guys. Let's do this. Who do you have being called up? Let me know. Let me know who you think is going to be called up from NXT, because there's a lot of them and they're coming fast. Dan says, Fraxium, that's the team. Adamir, my bad. By the way, you're doing great. Keep those haters hating. Honestly, since I left Twitter, I don't even see any. I don't even see any. Mr. X, I don't believe we'll see Jade Cargill before the chamber arrives. Jess says, I don't watch enough NXT to really know, but I'd love to see Starks. Bucks Basement, you're right, mate. So I'm not really concerned. NXT has so much talent in their female roster, they can easily get a better division started with Julia and Stephanie as the stars. And Matt really enjoyed Penta on Chris Van Vlie's interview. Okay, Crush, not going to read that one out. Kelly says, do you see Stephanie beating Fallon on Saturday and Julia retaining? Stephanie's my all-time fave female. She's so good. I'm not sure. The call-ups aren't coming soon enough, so I do think they're both going to leave as champions. Stephanie, I'm not sure about. I'm really not. I'm really not. Marta says, I'm looking forward to seeing Stephanie versus Rhea. Oof. Bam says, I don't think that it's a good idea to put Aleister Black in this Judgment Day. It's better for him to be a solo player. Once again, I expect him to briefly be sort of alongside Judgment Day, like Bret Hart in the NWO way back when, and at WrestleMania him to kick Dominic Mysterio in the face. Mr. Sims said Mr. Chase to be called up. Very official. Bailey says men's call-ups Ethan Page, Fraxium, Trick Williams, Ricky Starks. Chris says I wouldn't be mad if Fraxium lose their titles this weekend. Ashton is loving Roxanne Perez and hopes for a call-up there. Ryan says Ethan Page, Trick Williams, Fraxium and Ricky Starks for the men's. A lot of people seem to be agreeing on that. Christopher says men, Trick Williams and Ethan Page. Women, Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. Bailey is suggesting for the women, Cora, Roxanne, Julia and Jordan Grace. Entertainment says Metagirls, Fallon, JC Jane, Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland's an interesting one. I don't know how that's going to go. Chris Forte says, to your knowledge, Has there been any discussion between WWE and Maria Kanellis since her AEW release? To my knowledge, there has not. There was interest, however, WWE at this point believe that it will not be worth their time and do not believe that there would be interest from both sides. Ryan says, I can see Chemical X going up, Roxanne Julia. I could also see the JC Jane group going up as well. Chris thinks Cora isn't ready to be called up. And Kelly says, I see Roxanne, Trick, Chemical X would be great. And eventually Julia and Stephanie. Mr. X suggests Trick Williams, Tony D'Angelo, Carmen Petrovic, and Fraxium. Tony D'Angelo is one of them. He's done so much in NXT. And if he still doesn't get called up, I don't fancy his chances of staying. We have 69 likes on YouTube, which is nice. But let me bang one more time. We always get more likes and subsequently more viewers and subsequently more likes when I'm banging the drum. I know it's annoying, and I do apologise for it, but I also don't, because ultimately this is a business. I am trying to feed myself with it. I have another job. It's not Brassic. I'm not in a bad situation. I just bought a house. It's all good. It's all good. But if you want to stop Tom from banging, hit that like. Because I'm banging a drum. Hit the like. Mr. X says, any plan for Karrion Kross to win a singles title? Not at this point in time. No. Kelly would like to see Ethan, Oba and Tony D'Angelo getting called up. Ryan suggests that we keep banging that drum. Carl Anderson left WWE very recently, having been released. There is already interest from 2 promotions that I'm aware of in Carl Anderson's services. Those companies are TNA and New Japan. New Japan has already been in contact, as has TNA. He's expected to work on the independent circuit for a while with Luke Gallows and not really commit to anywhere in particular. There's a number of wrestlers doing that at the moment, and Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows are confident that that's a system that will work for them. TNA is apparently also interested in Carl Anderson for a production and a backstage agent role, essentially putting together the matches. They feel he'd be a good fit for that, given his experience in New Japan. He has trademarked Automatic Carl Anderson, or AKA, as a throwback to his old machine gun role. However, he doesn't believe that he can really pull off the machine gun Carl Anderson role anymore because there's already a Machine Gun Kelly. And at gunpoint, Machine Gun Kelly stole his name from him. So that's where we are with that. No matter, I did go through that phase. There was a time when, in fact, the main reason I started this channel and these shows is because I, during the pandemic, was made redundant. I was laid off. And because of the pandemic, I couldn't find new work. I still had rent to pay. So I started these shows as a way to try to make ends meet. I still remember shows way back when I was in a bad spot. I was in a genuinely bad spot. I was 2 months away from losing my home. It's amazing thinking about how far I've had to come, but also thinking about the fact that I did. So, proud of myself for that. Proud of myself for that. And very happy with everyone here who joined in, and in fact everyone who was there then. There are some people in this chat right now who were there way back then and were helping me pay those bills, and I'll forever be grateful to you. If you look back at some of the older shows, when for example I had the post-it behind me, 2 post-its just to remind me, this is not the worst day of your life. You're going to be okay. And I needed it. I needed it. That is no longer the world that we live in. No longer that world. Chris says, I'm a Tom Colohue guy. Thank you, Crush. Entertainment also hopes Tony D'Angelo gets called up. Matt says, congratulations. Thank you. Appreciate you. Ashton says, imagine Ricky has like a 6-month NXT title reign whilst he's cutting a promo after a win after a PLE and the Chairman's Intent theme song starts playing. That would be awesome. Ryan says, fair play to you there, bud. It's scary how quickly how life can change. Last year, best year of my life. Year before, previous best year of my life. 2025, pardon me. So far, so good. Christopher Leclerc says, I think Cora Jade is ready for the main roster because she's been in NXT for 4 years. And Carl says, hi Tom, welcome Carl. Mr. X, no, the Miz will not be running the Wyatt 6. That does not make any sense to me. Keith Lee has shut down a report from PWInsider stating that he was recently backstage at Dynamite. I can confirm, and only after he shut it down was I able to confirm, that he was indeed not backstage at Dynamite. I'm also told that AEW wrestlers right now are not best pleased with a lot of reports coming out about them. There was a change of the mood when someone, who shall remain nameless, who I exposed years ago now, someone was basically the pet journalist of CM Punk, and everything CM Punk wanted to be reported was reported, and then CM Punk joined the WWE, and we never hear about that guy again. I have a video using the information leaked by that guy, which has about 70,000 views. It's my most viewed video, and it details with some clarity exactly what was going on with CM Punk, what CM Punk was trying to do, how he was using a journalist to do it, and what his end goal was. Spoiler alert. Spoiler warning. Spoiler alert. Spoiler warning. It was to get back into the WWE Survivor Series. Michael is right. That guy disappeared. That guy disappeared. There was a change in the mood in AEW at that time and a increase in frustration in the overall business model of AEW. AEW wrestlers, when they sign a new contract with AEW, where they join AEW, are essentially told a list of wrestling journalists to follow it on social media and to engage with, to essentially put over. This has caused some consternation. For example, we've had it confirmed by people within AEW that AEW wrestlers are told that they need to engage with Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful. So no wonder he's getting the scoops. You know what I mean? Some wrestlers are not best pleased with this. Keith Lee is stepping out and saying this is false when Tony Khan's business model prohibits him from doing so. There are a number of other wrestlers, most notably, most obviously Samoa Joe, who aren't happy about those particular instructions, and it's causing a bit of an issue backstage when it comes to Tony Khan's locker room control. Theo Mike says, is there anybody from the main roster that can go down to NXT? There's a number of options available there. Apollo Crews has been mentioned again, unfortunately, of just staying there. Shotzi could well stay there. There's a number of people likely to be sort of moved away, but it's really down to whether Shawn Michaels thinks he could use them. There's not that many that are options now. Cal says, the SmackDown Hotel has confirmed full WWE 2K25 roster reveal is happening on Monday. Entertainment says, do the NXT women's division expect new talent besides the next in line talent once these call-ups happen? No, they believe they've got enough people already. Bam says, who is in your opinion more talented for dark gimmicks, Aleister or Bo? Aleister I don't think was ever really a dark gimmick. If you take away the fact that he's, macabre, it's not that dark. Carl says, any news on Cena? No, beyond the fact that he's going to have a very good time in the Elimination Chamber. Bailey says, another reason NXT needs to send talent up. They're now at almost 40 performers in Evolve. They need to eventually make a move towards NXT. Yeah, and that's kind of the plan. They're clearing space. They are very much clearing space for people to be called up. So he says, greetings from Colorado. Finally a stream I can actually make. What are you doing in Colorado, mate? Good to see you. Always a pleasure, always. For those who don't know, Sai makes my overlays. So if you're seeing it on YouTube, you'll see an overlay. That's very much Sai's work. He's good at stuff. Ashton says, I love B-Fab a lot and I think NXT would be good for her development. Possibly. There's a number of people that I think could benefit from less spotlight. Michael says, and PWInsider is the so-and-so is spotted here and there guys. Yep. They're the ones who kept reporting that AJ Styles was back when he wasn't. He eventually got it right. Ishii says you're the best source out there. Thank you, Ishii. I do believe in multiple sources, though. I do. I do believe that journalists should work together. That doesn't always work here, unfortunately. Which brings me neatly onto an outlet who've been getting a lot of things wrong recently. Now, there was a time, years ago now, 2 years in fact, when I did a full breakdown of Zero News. Essentially looking after the Royal Rumble at all of the reports they'd made, I believe there was about 13 of them, and proving that only 2 were correct. 2 out of 13, which is bad. It's very bad. Horrendous. The bad percentage. Now, since then, Zero News has basically gone to Discord and is only now appealing to their base with their scoops, which are, again, mostly proven wrong. But people still go to Zero News. Can you guess who I'm going to mention here? Can you guess who I'm going to mention that's got another one wrong and yet is still being treated as a reliable source all across the wrestling world? And in addition, who do you want us to look into? Because the general rule we have here, this chat is the most well-informed chat in wrestling because we source our information and we push back and we fact check. Okay? We always fact check. One of the reasons we can do that is because we remember when people get things wrong. Michael did it beautifully in the chat earlier. We remember when people get things wrong. I've done videos on Meltzer. I've done videos breaking down when people do this. When they make money from lies. I literally did the whole expose on the pet journalist of CM Punk. Whole expose. Because I want you to get the right information. No one said it yet. No one said it. Carl, there's no confirmation of reports of a PLE in Ireland. Christopher says, we're going to hear from Solo tonight on SmackDown. We do. Mr. Sim says, is it Louis Dango? No, mate. He got chased off because of the whole pizza thing. Pizzagate. Worked Wrestling we did look at on Monday, Michael. It is not them. Let's dive into it. PW Nexus. PW Nexus has come up a lot recently. They were the ones who reported that Rey Fenix had signed with WWE and subsequently Rey Fenix's contract was extended. There's a number of other things, but recently Fightful Select have confirmed what I'd already reported. What I reported the Monday after the Royal Rumble. PW Nexus had reported that Jey Uso was only a late decision to win the Royal Rumble. They reported that he was only decided upon at the beginning of January, so only a month before the Rumble. What I reported, and what Fightful Select have confirmed behind their paywall, is that it happened months before that. I've in fact gone further than Fightful Select and told you when it happened. It was around the same time as the Intercontinental Championship feud with Bron Breakker. Jey Uso won that championship as a test to see how the fans would react to it. So, PW Nexus and Viper Reports, specifically who reported this, got it wrong. Viper Reports and PW Nexus also reported that at Survivor Series it would be Punk versus Gunter. That also didn't happen. You'll note that we've been tracking PW Nexus since then to see if they're reliable. We've given them a chance to be proven right and to be proven wrong. What's your experience of PW Nexus? How do you think they're doing? Appreciate all the name drops, guys. Can see Ashley saying Chris the Wrestler Informer. Well, I know he's right because he basically just takes whatever I say. Mr. X is saying, will Pac return to WWE? Pretty happy elsewhere. Marcel says, I hope Aleister is back soon. He'll also go on the European tour before Mania, that we can see him at home in Amsterdam in live events. Kelly says, there are a few people I don't trust. I get all my news from you, Tom, and Days. And I appreciate that, Kelly. Calvin says, is there a chance Cena is taking the same approach that The Rock almost took last year when it comes to the WrestleMania main event? What, kicking Jey Uso out? No. I don't see that one. I really don't. So guys, that is our show. We peaked on YouTube at 118 viewers, a lovely number. We peaked at 79 likes, one below 80, which is a shame, but still nice. And we've had a great amount of likes, 7,500 on TikTok as well. We will be live again on Monday. I hope to see all of you there then. Thank you again, Martin, for the very generous donation. And thank you everyone for renewing your memberships. I will start looking into a fake news breakdown. So the wrestling receipt, I think that could be fun. Until then, as always, I will say, I've been Tom Colohue. You have been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.